when my sister Brielle screamed, "Stay in your lane, Zara." Across the bridal boutique, I felt something snap inside me. For 18 months, I had funded her entire dream wedding while working double shifts as a nurse. But standing there watching her try on a $3,000 dress I paid for, being told to shut up about flowers I arranged, I realized I was done being the family ATM. 20-4 hours before her wedding. I walked into the bank, withdrew every penny of the wedding fund, and bought a one-way ticket to Costa Rica. When Brielle woke up on her wedding morning, the venue, caterer, and florist were all calling with the same message: "Your payments have been declined." It started when Brielle got engaged to Marcus 2 years ago. As her maid of honor, I offered to help with wedding costs, thinking I'd contribute a few $1,000s. I was 28, working as an inner nurse, saving for a house down payment. Brielle was 25, working part-time as a social media influencer, while Marcus had just lost his job. "Don't worry about money," I told her. "Let's make your day beautiful." Those words haunted me. Brielle's vision was extravagant: 200 guests, exclusive country club venue, live band, premium everything. When quotes totaled $85,000, she looked at me with puppy dog eyes. "Mom and Dad can't afford this, and Marcus is unemployed. Could you help us get started?" Get started became me paying for everything. Venue deposit, $15,000. Catering, $12,000. Flowers through my friend. Jessica's business, $8,000. Brielle's dress and bridesmaids' dresses, $5,000. When Marcus found work 4 months later, instead of contributing, they leased a luxury downtown apartment. "We need to establish ourselves as a couple," Brielle explained. "Besides, you said you'd handle it. You make good money. This is an investment in family happiness." As the wedding approached, Brielle's demands escalated while her treatment of me deteriorated. She changed the menu 3 times after I'd paid, adding $3,000 in upgrades. When I suggested sticking to our original choices, she rolled her eyes. "Don't be cheap, Sarah. This is my wedding, not some hospital cafeteria event." The flowers became another battle. I'd worked weeks with Jessica to create beautiful arrangements within budget. But after seeing celebrity wedding photos online, Brielle demanded we replicate the exact setup, requiring imported orchids and double the arrangements. "Can't Jessica just make it work?" Brielle asked dismissively. "She's your friend. Friends help family." When I explained Jessica was running a business and had already discounted us significantly, Brielle snapped. "Then you need better friends who actually care about family." The final straw came during our venue walkthrough. I'd taken a personal day to accompany Brielle, our mother, and the wedding coordinator. When additional fees were mentioned, I started asking what was necessary versus luxury additions. "Excuse me," Brielle interrupted loudly. "Who's the bride here? You need to stay in your lane. Your job is writing checks, not questioning my decisions." Our mother said nothing, enabling Brielle's behavior as always. But Brielle wasn't finished. "You know your problem, Zara? You're jealous. You're 28, single, working a job that makes you bitter. Just because you can't find someone who wants to marry you doesn't mean you get to ruin my happiness. Stay in your lane." That night, I reviewed my bank statements. Over 18 months, I'd spent $73,000 on her wedding. My house fund was gone. Emergency savings depleted. I was living paycheck to paycheck for someone who treated me like hired help with no voiced up. The next morning brought crystal clarity. I called in sick rare for me and spent the day making life-changing arrangements. "First stop, the bank. I need to withdraw all funds from this account and close it," I told the manager, showing my ID. As the sole account holder, I had every right. The remaining $12,000 would cover my immediate needs and the trip I was planning. Then I contacted every vendor. The venue coordinator was professional but concerned when I explained I couldn't guarantee remaining payments. The caterer was direct. No full payment by noon tomorrow means no service. The hardest call was to Jessica. Zara, what's happening? The wedding's tomorrow. I've prepared half the arrangements. Keep the deposit for your time and materials, I said. But I can't be responsible for Brielle's choices anymore. She told me to stay in my lane, so I'm getting out of hers entirely. My final call was to a travel agency. One-way flight to Costa Rica, leaving tonight if possible. They found a red-eye departing at 11:30 p.m. I wrote a letter to Brielle and Marcus. After consideration, I've decided to stay in my lane as requested. My lane doesn't include funding a wedding for someone who treats me with disrespect. I've withdrawn remaining funds and canceled future payment authorizations. Venue is paid for. You'll have somewhere to gather. Everything else needs to be handled by you. I'm sure you'll figure something out. I'll be traveling to think about what my lane should look like going forward. Hope you have the wedding you deserve. I slipped it under their door at 9 p.m. and headed to the airport. 2 days later in Costa Rica, I finally turned on my phone. 73 missed calls, 156 texts, 42 voicemails. The wedding had been a disaster. Vendors arrived to find no authorized payments. Catering left after 2 hours. Musicians never showed final payment declined. Jessica brought only a bridal bouquet and family corsage out of kindness, which Brielle screamed at her for, calling it sabotage. The venue coordinator salvaged something with their basic package and emergency restaurant catering, but it bore no resemblance to Brielle's vision. Half the guests left early. According to my mother's tearful voicemail, Brielle spent her wedding day crying and blaming everyone except herself. Marcus's mother stood up during the reception announcing she'd never seen such poor planning, and this is what happens when people plan beyond their means. Family members later admitted they were relieved the truth about funding finally emerged. The most telling message came from Brielle at 2 a.m. You selfish, vindictive bitch. You ruined my wedding because you're jealous and alone. Don't ever contact me again. I spent 2 weeks in Costa Rica hiking, learning to surf and thinking about boundaries and self-respect. The irony wasn't lost. I was having the vacation of my lifetime on money intended for someone who called me bitter and jealous. Returning to Chicago, I moved into a better apartment and started therapy to understand how I'd allowed such exploitation. Family reactions were intense. Parents mortified by my cruelty, though they couldn't argue with my bank statements. Extended family was divided between those who thought I was justified and others who believed I'd gone too far. 6 months later, Marcus wrote apologizing for their treatment and admitting they'd taken advantage of my generosity. He revealed their marriage was struggling because the wedding disaster exposed deeper issues about respect and responsibility. A year later, Brielle and Marcus divorced. Their inability to manage finances or treat people with respect destroyed their relationship. Brielle moved back with our parents and took her first full-time job. Today, I've rebuilt my savings and bought a house I love. I've learned to set boundaries and recognize when helping becomes enabling. Brielle and I haven't spoken since her wedding day, and I've made peace with that. My actions gave other family members permission to set boundaries with Brielle's entitled behavior. Sometimes love means stepping back and allowing people to experience consequences of their choices. When someone tells you to stay in your lane, consider that your lane might be much better than the one they've been putting you in. Sometimes the most loving thing is making poor choices uncomfortable for others.